Hey family, it's your girl Sheila, and I'm coming to you live and direct from the battle station. A couple of weeks ago, we extended an invitation for you to attend our July event, Hush Ladies, the Men Are Talking. Well, the response to that video was a little overwhelming. So before we go any further, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of our friends here in the US, and thank you to our new friends in the United Kingdom, Jamaica, South Africa, and Barbados. Welcome to the Battle Station family. Well, since we listened to you instead of doing what we had planned to do, you're about to see a live recording of that event. The Kings did gather, and Reverend Lisa was on point. We hope that you enjoy this conversation. Hush, ladies, the men are talking.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us for this first installment of Hush Ladies, the Men Are Talking. Our first round of questions, I want to make sure that we have the opportunity to find out who you are and what you do and how you roll and what kind of swag you got. So I'm going to ask you a question, but I want you to start thinking about who are you when it relates to religion, relationship, finances, sexuality, and friendships. So let's start with our first kind king.
My name is Robbie Cunningham. I describe myself as a minister, musician, father, and husband, not all in that order. So I would describe myself based on those questions. I guess I would be at a level of average.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Vondale Taylor. I would like to think a hard worker. They say working builds character, so I'm always in search of great character. So, but as it relates to those questions where I see myself, I'm a great friend. That's very, very important to me. I'm a lover of words. Words move me, motivate me. So if we start talking about love languages and stuff like that, words are what's important to me. And I will agree with Robbie as it relates to that. I'm about average.
I doubt that. Either one of you.
My name is Will Radford, and I'm just a dude. I don't know what to say. Just a guy, man. We're gonna figure it out, I guess. Start talking. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Will.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Gerald Golden Sr. I'm a husband, father, grandfather. As it relates to my spirituality, I consider myself very spiritual as opposed to being religious. Some people think they're the same thing. I don't. As it relates to where I am financially, still a work in progress. Okay, but hopefully in about 3 more years, I'll be where I need to be, and I don't remember what the other question was, but I'm just happy to be a part of what we're trying to do here this evening.
We're going to hit all of those questions throughout this conversation, so don't worry about it if you missed any.
Oh, okay, thank you.
All righty.
Good afternoon. My name is Angel Gonzalez. The best way I can describe myself is a loving husband, a loving father. Try to be the best friend that I could be. I love helping people out. Try to give my time to people that really need it. I like to talk to other men, to get to know each other. That last one, I feel like I don't want to say average, but I'm still learning. And that's what excites me, growing to learn every day. That's what motivates me every day, is to learn something new, learn how to help, learn how to grow, and learn just how to be a better person.
Thank you. Thank you all. And anybody can jump in on this one. Who inspires you the most? and why?
For me, I'll jump right in there. For me, anybody, this is kind of a generic definition, but any man in particular that is transparent about challenges, about successes, about failures, okay, and a person that I would feel that after a certain period of time that I could confide in, as well as they would be able to confide in me. So any man that I've had school teachers, I've had ministers, I've had members of my family who've had those characteristics, and so all of them, you know, the list would be somewhat extensive. So I can't call them all by name, but you know, just I'm inspired by meeting these gentlemen, some of them for the first time tonight. Okay, just as what I feel, I'm kind of a feeling person. Okay, so the spirit that I connect with, everybody was warm and you know, like, hey, how you doing? That inspires me as a man, because a lot of times we don't get that, in my experience.
Yeah. I'll second that, man. I don't really have one person, you know what I mean? We just came back from youth camp, and I just got through learning the most greatest experience from 12-year-olds to 18-year-olds, you know? I think if you're looking for it, you can almost find it in anybody's book hard enough. But yeah, being honest with people, transparent, that's the stuff that I love, because that's something men don't do. And it's hard to get that, and that's what we need, because as women keep talking, I went through a really bad depression about 8 months ago, and had I had men in my life that I could really connect with, I wouldn't have been there.
Wow. That's good stuff. Thank you.
I could definitely agree with Will and Gerald. I always say this to a lot of men or young men that I talk to, that the way I grew up, you know, we always had self. Everything's about you or what. You know, whenever somebody tried to be a friend to you, you always felt like it was a string attached, and that was really hard growing up. But I always tell a lot of young men that, you know, us as men, we need each other. We need each other to lean on. We need each other to grow from. We need each other to talk to, trust each other. And that's really hard in this day and age because of how most of us grew up. You know, and as you get older and become more mature, you understand that you can't live life alone as a man. You know, you're always gonna need a mentor, you're always gonna need a friend, you're always gonna need someone that you can lean on, someone you can talk to, and be honest, and not worried about being judged. You know, that's, to me, you know, what it means. And I take that, I personally take that real serious.
I'm going to come back to that if that's okay with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who inspires you?
For me, my first person to pop in my head, my grandfather. Because my grandfather, to me, was always the definition of a man. He was a contractor, he had his own business. He worked every day and took care of the family, even to the point where he took me and my sister and my aunt and her kids, and all of us lived in one house. So to see him and my grandmother be the example of a married couple, for him to be the example of a provider, that's the person that, you know, whenever I get into a hard spot, I always kind of like, well, what would Granddaddy do? So that would be the one person that I kind of look up to.
Nice.
Thank you.
For me, of course, if you know anything about me, you always hear me say Archie Taylor son. So that's has been my inspiration the majority of my life. But I've come to a place in my life now, as Angel spoke a few minutes ago, that my mom did everything that she could for me being a female. But as I tried to become task mature, there wasn't a lot of men that could speak into me or that would speak into me. So even on the panel itself, you know, I've been spoken into, you know, by you yourself. But I think it's high time for men, even though we're sitting at this table, we got to live what we live, and we got to go out and speak into those men and young men that's coming up. So if I want to be more of an inspiration to people, then I'm worried about the people being an inspiration to me right now. So I think, but my mother she's the catalyst of the family for me. So that was my motivation. She taught me what work is and things like that. So I would say my mother. But I'm still yearning for those men to speak into me.
You all are taking me so off of my script because, which is what we wanted. We wanted organic, authentic conversation. And Angel, you said something about typically when you're dealing with men in conversation, there's some strings attached.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody help us understand, especially as the only female on this panel, why is it men can't have honest conversation, or what usually keeps men from having honest conversation? Let me also, before you jump in or anybody jumps in, I heard average 3 times about your status in life, and none of you all are average, because average men wouldn't have said yes to this. Average men would have said, I got something to do on Saturday. I thank you all for your courageousness and showing up so that we can start a deeper conversation, because for the views of our preliminary videos to go as viral as they have, there's a need for this conversation. So there's nothing average about that. So, Angel, strings attached. Why are men not safe in conversation?
I think it's the machismo. Men, they always feel like they have to see whose chest is bigger than the other one. That builds a wall, and the conversation will never be genuine or authentic because of the way I grew up. Always gotta look out for yourself. Don't let nobody see your weakness. You gotta make sure you're the strongest, and some of that can be true to a point, but we all as men need someone to talk to. We need somebody when we're hurting. I mean, we have wives, girlfriends, they can understand us, but to a limit. Men, we're built different from females. The reason why I say that is because females, they describe to the details. Men is like, hurry up, get to the point, So a man, when we talk, if we're talking to another man and somebody can understand our situation, the conversation can get deeper into detail because he can relate, and finding that in another man nowadays, it's really hard. So for me as myself, whenever I talk to someone, I talk to them like an open book. This is who I am, this is where I stand, and I'm here. If you need an ear to chew on, you need to yell, because we all, men, we get frustrated too. We need something, we need our own punching bag, or we need something and we can't do it all the time, but the only way that we could release it in a way that, we wind up understanding our own release is talking to another man. And talking to another man helps us understand our situation from a man looking from outside of the box. We're inside the box and we talk to someone and he's looking from outside of the box and giving us that brotherly love.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Latino, Hispanic?
Yes, ma'am. Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's only in your community?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm originally from Jersey. I'm Puerto Rican. All my friends were African American. I really didn't grow up with a Spanish community. So it doesn't matter, where you're from.
That's what
a man is a man. I mean, we believe it or not, no matter what shape, color, race, anything, we're all designed the same way. It's just internally. Externally, we all look different, but internally, we feel the same. Who can we talk to? It's like I didn't grow up with a dad. I've been on my own since I was 12. I'm 44 years old. My mom, I never had a relationship with my mom. So my example someone being an example to me, one of the major persons in my life as I was growing and becoming a man was my father-in-law. It's kind of weird because people are like, you gotta know what your father-in-laws, my your in-laws, I love my in-laws. My father-in-law poured into me. He didn't take out from me. He poured into me on what a man should be doing as a husband, as a father. And when he always corrected me, he never corrected me like this. He always corrected me like this. Sometimes when we talk to other men, we have to be aware of how we're talking because no man want to feel like he's being looked down upon. We always want to look at each other. When we look at each other, we feel that we're equal. So when you talk to somebody and they feel equal, they can understand you relating to them. That's how another man opens up, to me.
So I hear some around the table. So tell me how.
But I think to that question, why men don't open up from a female's point of view,
Help us, please.
is that because I think on average, females already have an image of a man.
Okay.
And so some men may say, well, I gotta be strong and powerful and I gotta be this image. And so I can't cry in front of her because she's gonna think I'm soft.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can't, I think it becomes a matter of trust. I have a great relationship with my wife. I feel comfortable. If I'm upset, I can cry about it or whatever. And I look back while Angel was talking, I thought about I had a balance in my life. I had, a female impression, my grandmother, my aunt, my mom, and like I said, my grandfather and my father, so I had a balance in there where I knew I was in touch with being that strong person and also conscious of, my emotions. So I was kind of a little bit easy going as far as just letting things out. But I think in a relationship, men may say, well, she has this image of me, and so I got to maintain this image.
So as a sister, how do we support, come alongside, whether we're married or dating a gentleman? How do we come alongside you all and communicate with you all to the point where you feel safe enough? And I want you to speak to this, and we can come back to the other question that I asked Angel about. But I hear communication being an issue and you all not being vulnerable in front of us. How do single sisters come alongside? Because typically by the time you get to the married point, we've seen you cry at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Might be at somebody's funeral, but we saw you cry. But how do sisters come alongside a single brother without becoming hovering or mama or too domineering, and support you when you're going through something and you be safe enough to share? Start with you.
Okay. I think one of the first things that this sister has to do is understand the difference between a male and a man.
Help us.
Okay, because as a man, I don't make an apologist for it. So as a man, I'm responsible for three things: protect, provide, and instill the principles of God. And not necessarily in that order, but those are the things I'm responsible for. So no man, no woman is going to tell me that that's what I'm not. Right?
Okay.
So when you look for me, because I would venture to say that, you lay beside your girlfriend or whatever, and your doorbell rings at 2 o'clock in the morning, and she's answering the door, then you probably land beside a man.
Ooh. Ooh.
Okay. So, secondly, I would say that if she can embrace the difference between dealing with somebody she's dealt with maybe in high school or whatever, and that did not have the task maturity to understand where his place is in life now, then and she handles that man the same way, I think that's where the difference is. Mm-hmm. She has to be able to differentiate between the male and the man.
Good answer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah, I like
You
that.
nailed it on the head.
Well, I see you leaning in. Help us.
No, I'm right there with him. I agree with exactly what he said. He couldn't have said it any better. I mean, I look around in society today and I just see all these things of men not being men. You know, it's like
What does that mean?
simple things, man. Opening a car door for a lady, opening a door for somebody, respect. Hey, how you doing? Not, she looks good. I mean, when people do that, first of all, I wouldn't want a woman that responded to that. And second of all, we shouldn't be doing that, right? Yeah, we're men. We're created to like women, but a real man ain't gonna treat a woman disrespectful. They're gonna treat them with respect, and I think that's a lot of it. And why has this come to this? Because we as men failed. We failed to raise men, and that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. Because I think that's huge.
So I hear you say you have failed if this is how men are responding or acting when approaching a woman. But what's the onus for the female in terms of responding to, hey girl, you looking good?
I mean, and a lot of it, they want the attention, right? And they probably been hurt somewhere too. They want to feel that I'm good, I'm pretty, I'm all that. But when it's given to them in the wrong way, that eventually is going to turn around to belittle women and all that too. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And you know, I think the biggest problem why a lot of women are having problems finding men is because they're not finding men; they're just still finding boys that are in men's bodies.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
A tall child.
Yeah.
A tall child. Yeah. Papa G, I heard you over here agreeing.
Yes.
What did Vondell say that resonated with you?
Actually, I was going all the way back, and I know you're going back to Angel. May I?
Absolutely.
Go all the way back to that? As far as conversations and communicating, you know, in my life experience, a lot of conversations I have with my brothers is so superficial. You know, we talk about the weather, we talk about sports. We talk about sports tonight, by the way. You know, we talk about sports, okay? We talk about maybe women just in general, as if to say like, man, don't she look good, that kind of thing. Okay, but when it comes to matters of the heart, you know, I think that the challenge that we have is we have been, the wrong examples in a lot of cases have been set for us by both males and females.
Okay.
When it comes to the women accepting that type of conversation from another man, it lowers the standard. So it don't take much for me to just say, you know, shorty,
Right.
you know, okay, but to try to formulate a sentence composed of 4 or 5 words such as, oh my God, don't you look very lovely this evening? That's supposed to be, shorty, you bad. Really? But if you respond to that, if that's all that it takes from me, then that's all you're gonna get from me.
Wow.
If I'm really interested in you, and you like, thanks but no thanks, but if I'm really interested, so I'm gonna call Vondell, I'm gonna call Will, I'm gonna go look up at the man, I'm gonna go look at some kind of book or something and find out, wow, man, something I did wrong. I need to sharpen my skills. I need to sharpen my skills. So kind of combining the two topics that we were talking about, you know, I think the wrong example, because of the machismo, the chest being stuck out, because this has existed for generations down through time. Okay, you know, my dad was that way, my granddad was that way, his father was that way, his father was that way, his father was that way. Not in all cases, okay, but it was a rarity. What happened in my own personal experience, though, as trying to be a gentleman, sometimes I put these little gentleman post things out on my Facebook page, and because that appeal has been something that was just in me. I like that opening the door, okay? I like that holding a chair. I like, you know, going the extra mile to make you feel special. That's something, I didn't always get that now, and I wasn't always shown that, but it was just innately God-given, I guess. It's just something that just had a strong appeal for me, and I used it, and I would like to say it's a testimony that it works for me, because I've been married for 42 years to the same woman, by the way. Okay,
So, and you might be getting ready to answer my question. I heard Will say that he just got back off a youth retreat.
Yeah.
Who outside of the church is teaching young boys to become men? You know, how do we raise up young men and not just males? Who is investing?
Mama.
But mama can't teach.
Right. But that's
Actually
what we're
doing
stuck
it.
with.
Right.
That and the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because mama's teaching boys how to be men. That's what the majority of us are stuck with.
Yeah.
You know,
And they'll
that's-
disrespect the women, but they can't.
yeah. And so there's no, outside of mama, and a lot of guys, outside of mama, there's no male that says, you messing up. Or pull their head, tuck them, hey, you're going the wrong direction, you're doing this, you're doing that. Because a lot of those guys who are being raised, unfortunately, by mom, mom probably don't even know half of what's going on.
Right.
So I think that plays into it.
If I could touch on something you said a while ago, you asked why sometimes men don't trust. Well, for me, it don't take me but once or twice to get burned, and I'm not gonna trust you anymore. And if I confided in you in something, and the first time you get mad at me, you're gonna throw that back up in my face, I'm never gonna confide in you, right? And I think we get that a lot sometimes from women. And once that's happened a couple times, you don't want to come back up to them again. So that would, if a lady was asking me what's one thing I could do, anything I ever tell you is confidence or in trust, or if I'm hurt, you can't use that against me. And it goes both ways, but that's a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
So.
But Angel, when Angel spoke about honest conversation and man to man, he was talking about how you have to look at each other and get it. And I think sometimes men have some opportunities with honest conversation because maybe they feel like you're further along than they are at that particular time, so they can't open up because they feel like
I'm not there yet.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
So I've had conversations with men and they're saying they want to be transparent, and even myself, but I'm like, man, if I go out here and I say, hey man, I'm this and this, and he's long past that, then how is he going to answer me? Is he going to chastise me, or he's going to push me and hold me up? So I might pull back a little bit because in fear of how he's going to answer where he is in his life. So I think that's how we don't get trapped.
But we need to stop tripping though, okay? Because my job is to help bring you along, and I know if I don't feel that way, okay, whether I am wherever I'm at, and if and the other thing that I think a lot of us don't do, and we use this word friend, but a friend does not tell you what you want to hear. A friend tells you what you need to hear.
That's right.
Okay, and set you straight. And if the friendship has any value, if it's really a friendship, okay, when you speak to me, when I check you, okay, you might be mad. And I'm be like, that's cool, you be mad. Okay, and we might not text for a few days. Okay, it's all good.
Right.
Okay, but I cannot consciously sit by and see you going somewhere where probably I've been. I may not speak on it if I haven't been down that road. Because it probably doesn't, how you know, G? You ain't never been there. So that probably might not carry as much weight. I still might speak on it, but it might not carry as much weight. But if I've been down that road and I know where I wound up, which you may not, you might not stay on the road as long as me, and I'm, and so you might be blessed to get off that track. Okay, but if I see it or I see signs of it, hopefully we can have that eye-to-eye, real, truthful conversation. We could talk about it. And you could be mad as you want to be, and I'm like, well, you go ahead on.
It's a feeling you get.
And I'm gonna leave you there, and then a week, a month, a year.
Yeah.
If it's meant to be, we're gonna be cool again.
And you was talking about when you talk to somebody, if you haven't been down that path. A lot of times when I speak to someone, another man or male, I talk to them from experience. I know there's people out there that like to help people, but when I'm very passionate when I talk to a young man, because if I see him going, like you said, down that road, I'll snatch him up. Look, I don't think this is a good idea. I'm telling you because I've experienced it. I have photos, I have documents to prove what I'm talking about. I'm not just telling you just so you can hear something. I'm telling you because I don't want you to go through that same lonely depression, suffering, and pain by yourself. And some of them receive it, some of them don't. But this happens to me all the time. The ones that didn't receive it, when I do see them again, you was right, Angel. And I don't say, I told you. I don't go at them like that because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I tell them, I said, you had to experience it. You know, I guess my word wasn't good enough, but it doesn't mean that I'm not going to listen. Talk to me. What's going on? You know, that's the best way to talk for me, because I wasn't, like I said, I didn't have a male, you know, role model in my life. So me growing up, becoming the man that I am, I have 3 beautiful daughters. I have a wife. I don't have no male in my life. I got 3 dogs that are girls, you know. So I'm just surrounded with them. But you know, I don't let that stop me from learning from another man. You know, when I first moved out here, I didn't trust anybody. Somebody actually broke me down and said, "Why are you scared?" I ain't scared.
Yeah.
You scared. What are you scared about? You know, and the longer I try to fight it, the more I was letting out. Man, I just been burnt too many times. I can't trust nobody. But I also have to understand we're human. We're not perfect. We can't hold somebody accountable for that for the rest of their life, you know? We have to learn how to be humble and accept whatever blessings or words they're pouring over us. And like you said, there'll be times that, you know, you might check me and I might be upset, but I'm not going to hold that against you, because that's showing me, you know what, I have a brother that cares about me.
Let me jump in right there. How many of you all have an accountability partner? Who holds you accountable for your behavior? Because one of the things we talked about in the preliminary videos was why it's important for you to pour in me, to pour into people, and why it's important for you to have somebody to pour into you. Who holds you accountable for your behavior? Because what happens often, and I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, is that when our men are acting up, we want to blame their friends.
That's true.
We want to act like their behavior would be different if their friend would check them. To that end, how many of you all, or do you all, have a friend that would check you if you're wrong? I'm not talking about you pouring into somebody. I'm talking about my Sheila. I'll use Sheila as my accountability partner from the battle station. If I'm doing something that's jacked up, she's gonna say it to me. It's not good grammar, but it's good theology. My sisters, one sister says if she wants somebody to go along with her, she'll call one sister. If she wants somebody to tell her the truth, she'll call the other sister. Who is the Nathan in your life? Who is the person that will say to you, what you did was messed up, and I really need you to reconsider what's happening?
Can I answer that?
Absolutely.
All right. So when I realized I needed help for my depression, I actually went out with Dr. Henry Cloud and I always forget his partner's name, but there's 2 of them, and actually met with him. We met with a bunch of people, but one of the things they taught us out of there is men need at least 6 people in their life that speaks into it, and they also need to be able to clearly speak back. So that's what I did. I started off with just finding one, and I've got it up to 4 men that I've got permission to speak into my life if they see me doing anything wrong or right. You know, let me know. And I think that's something we need to do. But when you give that permission, it needs to be somebody you can't trust 100%. And that's what takes time to find. But once you do that, man, it's just amazing. But I think you need not just one, you need several of your friends to be able to do that, because depending on the situation, we're going to tell certain friends certain things, certain ways.
Yeah.
So just having one guy, you can sneak out of that well. You ain't got to tell him that, right? But if you have more than one, that's going to help you keep you accountable for it, right? So that's what worked for me.
How hard was it for you to allow that to happen?
Man, I hit rock bottom, so it was. I knew I needed to. That's where I was.
Do I have permission to come back to that?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Somebody else, accountability. Who holds you accountable?
So for me, I have.
Me.
So I have 2. Both I've met latter times in my life. One was my boss, through the communications of the world, Tom, but Tom was really big in his faith, right? And that was unwavering to him. His faith was just unwavering. He was going to do what he felt like he was called to do, whether he liked it or not. So he was one of those people that was really strong in that. So consequently, I'm big in my faith. So we connected, and he was able not to just challenge me professionally, but challenge me outside of it. So him, for one, then my best friend Brian in Atlanta, I could be doing something, and even one time a post on Facebook, he didn't respond. He called me and said, "Take it down and call me back."
That's good.
That's a good friend.
So those two are the ones who are bold enough in who they are,
Who love you enough.
and love me to course correct.
Hey family, how you doing? Frank B here. Well, there it is, the first episode of Hush Ladies, the Men Are Talking. We hope you enjoyed it. It was a great time, a great conversation, and we invite you to keep the conversation going. If you're watching us on our YouTube channel, The Battle Station, just write your comments there. If you're watching on Facebook, comment there. Keep the conversation going, because it's all about communication. We just want to thank the brothers for coming out, and we want to thank Lisa for coming out and just engaging and having great conversation. We also would like to thank our set decorator, and we also want to thank the Arts Community Center here in Richmond. You guys rock. A big thank you to them. So again, here we are, one episode down on the Battle Station, on the YouTube channel, on Facebook. Just subscribe to our channel. New episode is coming soon. Subscribe to the channel and watch the new episode. I'm sure you will enjoy it. There's some more great conversation to be had. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.